That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
All right, guys, I know we are suffering so many running back injuries right now. Running backs that we thought were going to be 100% good to go this week are not going to be. So please keep in mind, if you have no options, you may have to play one of these guys. But if you are looking between 2 or 3 and you really need a tiebreaker, I think this video is going to be incredibly helpful of me outlining 5 guys that I do not want in my starting lineup in week 11. But before we get into it, please go down to the comment section. Let me know if there's anything that y'all would like to see. And also, I need y'all to do a massive thing for me. Go follow me on Instagram and Twitter. On Twitter, I'm going to be tweeting out, hey, send me screenshots of your roster. Reply to this tweet with start sit questions, yada, yada, yada. We'll have multiple tweets going out like that on Instagram. I'll be doing the same thing on my story. I'll be taking questions from y'all on both platforms to be used in our videos tomorrow. So yes, please go follow me on there now. Don't DM me. I get too many DMs where I cannot read them, or you can DM me. I'm just very sorry. Most likely not going to see it until we get to the part of the week where I am looking for your questions, and that's going to be through my story. All right, now that's it. Let's get into the video and let's start talking about these 5 running backs that I want out of our starting lineup and on our benches in week 11. And let's start it off with Giovani Bernard. Now, guys, I know way back in about week, I want to say 9, when we first saw that Joe Mixon injury, actually, I think it was week 8, I was desperately asking for you to put Giovani Bernard into your starting lineup, but that was based on a multiple of factors. 1, we had Giovani Bernard in a fantastic matchup. 2, we are projecting him to see every single touch in that backfield, and that's exactly what happened. So Giovani Bernard went out there and he produced exactly what we were looking for. The following week, we went with the same game plan with Giovani Bernard, begging you to put him in your starting lineup. And then something happened. They changed the usage with the running backs in Cincinnati. They actually started to get Samaje Perine a little bit more involved. Giovani Bernard ended up saving his day based on some touchdown production. But really, we wanted nothing to do with Giovani Bernard after that. I told y'all that y'all could cut him going into the bye week because 1, we thought that Joe Mixon would be good to go this week. And 2, the matchup's going to be bad. And we know that we are actually going to end up seeing Samaje Perine see some carries in this offense. That is not what you can afford if you are a Giovani Bernard owner, just because if Samaje Perine is splitting this backfield 50-50, it's pretty much the exact same situation that Giovani Bernard was facing with Joe Mixon. So please just completely ignore him this week against the Washington football team. I will say if you are desperate, it could be a little bit worse just because we are going to be expecting Giovani Bernard to get the targets out of the backfield, and that is going to provide him some type of floor. But right now, I am just looking at him in a committee role for the Cincinnati Bengals, and I really want nothing to do with that in a matchup that's not going to be leading to a ton of fantasy production. Okay, so now our next running back, someone that had an incredible performance this past week, Ronald Jones. So with Ronald Jones, I know y'all are probably going to be very frustrated with me telling you not to put him in your starting lineup this week because he went for almost 200 total yards and a touchdown last week, over 20 touches, exactly the type of usage and production that you were wanting to see from Ronald Jones. But the problem here is Ronald Jones is 100% just a game script running back. If we don't have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a large lead for the majority of the game, we are actually going to see Leonard Fournette end up expanding his role in the offense because they prefer to use Leonard Fournette in obvious passing down situations. So he'll come in on 3rd down. And on top of that, we know that the matchup against the Los Angeles Rams is not one that we want to be attacking. Clearly, they probably have the best defensive lineman in the entire NFL in Aaron Donald. And on top of that, with Jalen Ramsey locking down their top option on the outside, the Los Angeles Rams defense has actually been very good so far in 2020, where I think that this game could actually be a lot lower scoring than most people are projecting it to be. And I think because it's going to be competitive, we are going to have less snaps played for Ronald Jones. It's going to be against a tougher defense, so those snaps where he does play, he's going to be seeing less efficient touches. Overall, really not a situation that I think we can go out there and choose to attack. Okay, so now our third running back, someone that I never want you to start, and somehow he always goes out there and barely saves his day, Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley, yes, consistently seeing over 15 carries a game, but he looks like he is one of the least talented running backs in the entire NFL right now. Really is not doing anything compared to Brian Hill on a per touch basis. I actually think that Brian Hill at this point in their respective NFL careers may be the better running back based off the efficiency that we've seen in 2020. Todd Gurley has actually had most of the production in that backfield, mainly off of touchdown volume. Now here, I am not telling you to even roster Brian Hill. I mean, he's someone I don't want anywhere close to my starting lineup, but I'm just trying to point out the fact that I think we end up seeing them continue to split this backfield. And when Todd Gurley is not going to get targets out of this backfield, and he's really just relying on those touchdowns, he's someone I want nothing to do with, especially going up against the New Orleans Saints this week. We know the New Orleans Saints actually were going to be looking like they were going to be intriguing game script based on Jameis Winston being the starting quarterback. But earlier this morning, we actually had a report that Taysom Hill is going to start at quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. I don't know how that's going to work. I owe a ton of people an apology for telling them not to be rostering Taysom Hill. I know a lot of people wanted to go and pick him up because you can play him as a tight end. I didn't think that he was going to see his role expand in the offense whatsoever, because last year when Drew Brees went down, we saw Teddy Bridgewater come in, and Teddy Bridgewater saw almost every single snap at quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Well, that's not happening, so I think this game's going to be a lower scoring game where with Taysom Hill, the New Orleans Saints just try to control the time of possession. We're really not going to be able to see Todd Gurley get a ton of looks at the goal line, and when he's not getting those looks at the goal line, his stat line could be miserable. I mean, just go to Todd Gurley and take away a couple touchdowns and regress him to the average in the NFL in terms of touchdown volume, and he looks like he is a high-end running back 3. So obviously a running back that maybe if you are just absolutely decimated by injuries and bye weeks, you are going to have to plan on starting him. Personally, I'm doing everything I can to avoid it though. All right, now our next running back, someone y'all know I have been severely low on compared to most people because I'm higher on his running back teammate, Darrel Henderson. Guys, with Darrel Henderson, I stand by the fact that Cam Akers is going to continue to expand his role in this offense. And honestly, that call looks like it's been 100% accurate, with Cam Akers actually getting pretty much the same, if not more touches than Darrel Henderson this past week. Henderson got lucky, saved his day with the touchdown. Outside of that, he only had a 1 reception and a total of 33 yards. So it could have been absolutely brutal. This is going to be a very tough matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I already went through and said that I think this game is going to be a lower scoring game. And right now, with the Los Angeles Rams splitting their backfield 3 ways between Malcolm Brown, Cam Akers, and Darrel Henderson, there is no way that you can confidently rely on any of these running backs in your starting lineup. You know, I think that both Henderson and Akers have the talent, but it doesn't matter when you are not going to be getting the touches and you are not going to be playing in a great matchup. Okay, so now our last running back, someone who completely smashed last week, even though he quote-unquote smashed, only had 13 fantasy points. The problem here is we are just not seeing him get the same amount of targets out of the backfield as he did earlier this season when Chris Thompson was out. This is obviously James Robinson. Guys, with James Robinson, we have to be worried about a couple things here. One, the overall offense is horrendous. Y'all know last week I actually told y'all not to start James Robinson when we thought Jaire Alexander was going to be good to go against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not only was Jaire Alexander out, but also their secondary cornerback was out, which really allowed the Jacksonville Jaguars to have some offensive success in that game, not to get extremely ugly right away. I think that if we had Jaire Alexander and their secondary cornerback in there, this game would have been horrendous. The Green Bay Packers, outside of Jaire Alexander, have a very, very bad defense. So the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars were not able to take advantage of that matchup, I really, really, really do not want to be playing anybody from the Jacksonville Jaguars, especially when they are going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have one of the best defenses in the entire NFL. So with the Jacksonville Jaguars only being able to produce so much in the terms of their overall total offense this past week against one of the worst defenses of the week, now they're going up against the best defense. I mean, what are y'all expecting? Please let me know. Do you actually think that the Jacksonville Jaguars can go over 15 points this game. I have some serious question marks around that. And if the Pittsburgh Steelers get to a large lead, we know that Chris Thompson is going to be there in a majority of the snaps for the second half of this Jacksonville Jaguars franchise. So I will say, I think that James Robinson is a fantastic running back. If we were just talking about in a vacuum, in a game-neutral situation, I think that James Robinson is one of the best running backs in the entire NFL. I have so much respect for the guy. An undrafted free agent looking like he's in a tier of a Marshall Faulk, a Le'Veon Bell in terms of his production, his rookie season in the receiving and the rushing game. Y'all know in our Dynasty Fantasy Football video, I really dove into the fact that James Robinson looks like an all-time great running back based off his rookie year production. But guys, in a very bad matchup with his overall offense looking like it's probably going to be the worst offense in the entire NFL, I do not think we can rely on James Robinson this week. Now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, please make sure you go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps me out. And yeah, I will see y'all in the live stream tonight at 9 p.m. Central.